Brenda Kozub from Tysol is with us, as she is on Wednesdays, talking pets. Nice
Hello.
to see you.
Good to see you.
So you're talking about nutrition today,
We are.
You brought in a selection here that is what's bad,
Little
you said.
snacks for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some foods out there that I don't think people really have visualized what's in the dog food or some of the cat food. So I'm not going to name which one it is that I've brought, but I just thought I would actually show people what's in it. For instance, the first one here is ground yellow corn, and it actually is the first ingredient in this particular dog food.
Okay.
Now, yellow corn can be good for certain things, but really when you think about a dog or cat food, they're needing protein.
Okay.
Corn as being the first ingredient. Second ingredient we've got is soybean meal. Again, it's got a high protein, but it's not an animal protein. Then the third one we've got is the corn gluten meal. That's the leftovers from when they make corn syrup or cornstarch, that sort of thing.
And this is what we had the problems with the bad dog food that came out about a year and a half, 2 years ago. This stuff was actually poisoned, and that was where the problems arising.
Exactly. Okay. Then this one here we've got are wheat middlings. A lot of people will call them floor sweepings. It's the leftovers from when they've milled wheat.
So why would they put this in dog food, just as a filler?
It's cheap.
Oh, it's cheap.
It's cheap. And you do get a protein from it, but it's not an animal protein. It's vegetable protein. For instance, this particular food says it has 30% protein in it. But as we go along, it's usually the first three that you care about.
Right.
Then we've got animal fat as number 5. And then the last one, I couldn't come up with poultry byproduct meal, but poultry byproduct meal is basically, again, it's the leftovers from when they've, slaughtered chickens and so on. So it could be necks, undeveloped eggs, feet, intestines.
The stuff that you wouldn't want your pet eating.
The wood stuff you wouldn't want anybody eating.
Yeah, no kidding.
They make fertilizer out of it. So, the bag may read that it's 30% protein, as I mentioned, but would you want to be feeding that to your pet?
So when you go to look for something like that, you mentioned the first 3 ingredients are the most important.
Generally, they make up the bulk of the product.
Okay, so what advice would you give people about picking a food? Specifically for your dog, I guess, is important if your dog is active or senior or a puppy, because puppy food and adult food are very different.
Very different. You could have a very fat dog eventually. You're going to want to look for, meal is not a bad thing as long as it's not byproduct meal. So you'd want chicken meal or turkey meal. Or you want to look for chicken or turkey or lamb. Okay. You want to look for whole grains, or possibly a food without any grains. But you're going to want to look for fruits and vegetables, pre and probiotics, no chemical preservatives. Like something like this would probably have been preserved with BHA, BHT, ethoxyquin, all chemical preservatives.
Now, what about those dogs? Like we have a lab, as you know, and so she's always active, and so we always worry about her joints, and that's an important thing. So there's a lot of food that have things for dogs that are super active, or dogs with arthritis or things like that. Are you finding that's becoming more popular? People specializing?
It is, yes, and you'll have glucosamine and so on in them. A lot of people add supplements if they need more. You want to make sure that, say, their omegas are high enough so that, again, it works good for their skin and coat, but it's actually anti-inflammatories for their joints. Okay. So you want to look for good natural foods.
Okay. And the other important thing when picking a food is just to be wary of cheaper's not always better, right?
Cheaper's generally not better.
Not better at all.
Because you're feeding a whole lot more. There's more cleaning in the backyard, and you just don't have as healthy an animal.
All right, well, the good news is that next week, Brenda is going to come back with what's inside a good dog food, which is important.
It will be appetizing to look at.
Okay, good. Well, there you go. If you want some more information, there's how you reach Brenda at tysol.ca and get more details on that and see her at one of the stores. And thanks so much. We look forward to seeing what the good dog food is next week.
Good. Thank you, Steve.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll wrap things up here in the morning news for this Wednesday. We come back.